Welcome to Compass for Your Life, and this is your host, Mary Ladybird, creator of Wonder Space. This show is about healing your home and body using sacred feng shui. Harmonize your life by creating a harmonious home. Easy and fast ways to improve your life and create wonderful spaces. Let's inspire you to make the best of your space to create your best life possible. Get ready to enjoy this new perspective on home living. Hello, welcome to Compass for Your Life. I am Mary Ladybird, and today we're going to be talking about spirit animals. I'm going to talk about the feng shui, the four celestial guardians, and then I have on a very special guest, Ona Christa Martin, who works as a visionary artist. She's also an energy worker and a channel. She is a vision holder for a world in which humans remember our divine nature and come back into right relationship with our Mother Earth and with each other. She also is on YouTube, so check her out while you're listening. Her channel is Art of Awakening. She also runs Spoken Earth Ministries, a metaphysical ministry for starseeds and light workers, which is a free community gathering twice a month. Today, like I said, we are going to talk about the Chinese tradition of the four celestial guardians. But before we do that, I want to bring Ona on. Ona, hello.
Hi, Mary. Thanks so much for having me here.
Oh, thank you for coming. This is going to be great because we got the feng shui perspective mixed in with your knowledge of the metaphysical perspective of spirit animals. But before I go into the guardians, would you like to talk a little bit more about spirit animals in general, and what it is to know what your spirit animal is, or what it's like to get signs from an animal as well?
Okay, so spirit animals are probably one of the most accessible spirit guides, in my opinion, anyway, because we can all relate to animals, right? We have an animal body, and that's really what I feel they're here for, to help us with, right? That they are allies, that we can, ask to connect with. And what I feel they're really good at is helping us to learn how to live in a body, right, on the earth. And these are spirit beings that just about any tradition has some kind of aspect of working with spirit animals around the world. So a lot of times people think it's only a Native American thing or something like that. No, it is a human thing. To work with spirit animals. We have a very innate connection with them. If you've ever had them come through in dreams, or even just feel an affinity for a certain animal, that is an indication you have a connection.
Absolutely. And I know that I myself have had many different spirit animals come by and been able to work with. So, yeah, and being able to also learn about the feng shui guardians, I wanted to go into that a little bit so then people can start to work with them as well. Through the Chinese tradition, there are four celestial guardians, which are a reflection on Earth as the four main constellation houses that create the 28 lunar houses in the Chinese cosmology. They can be considered as an equivalent to the zodiacal constellation in our Western astronomy. They are a reflection also of the 28 mansions. For those who are familiar with classical feng shui, we talk about the 28 mansions a lot. And it reflects the movement of the moon through what they call a sidereal month rather than the sun in a tropical year. Now, those are maybe some new terms for you. So a sidereal month is the time it takes the moon to return to a similar position among the stars. And a tropical year is based on the amount of time between perceived rotations of the sun around the earth. The ancient Chinese astronomers divided the sky elliptic into four regions. collectively known as the four symbols. And they, of course, assigned each one a mysterious animal. Now, the four creatures that are referred to, these four symbols, are also known as the four guardians, the four gods, or you may have heard them as the four auspicious beasts. And they are the azure green dragon of the east, the phoenix bird of the south, the white tiger of the west, and the black tortoise or black warrior of the north. And we'll definitely get into each one of those a little bit more. But by bringing these celestial configurations into spaces will mean more harmony, good energies, and really great feng shui. But I definitely want to dive into each one of these. And they're also related to direction as well as their own element. Now, there's one that is missing out of these four guardians, the four symbols, and that is the snake. And the snake is representative of Earth, and it's not in the sky, it is where we are. And so that is your home, right? And you are the snake, your home is. And then we look at the four animals around that, and you being the center point, right? So we can talk about the directions first. So the snake is center. Turtle represents water. It's obviously like in the water a lot, also on land, but in the water. Fire for the bird, wood for the dragon, and metal for the tiger. Um, and yeah, so I want to go into each one. And Ona, do you want to start? We can talk about the turtle first.
Oh, sure. Yeah. So, turtle, oh my, turtle is a very, very deep and ancient being, right? Energy. And in more than one tradition, in various places around the world, turtle represents the Mother Earth, right? And she's like this ancient, or he, ancient, being that carries the wisdom of the ages, right? And in some traditions, turtle actually carries the world on its back. And one interesting thing that I learned from the Native American tradition is if you look at the back of a turtle, it has 13 different little segments on it. And that represents the 13 moons. So in some traditions, turtle represents truth, or what I think of as like universal law, and the way, kind of like the way the universe works. So there's a lot of meanings to turtle that, it would be, we could take all this time and more just talking about any one of these animals, but that would be maybe a starter.
Yeah. Yeah, nice. Yeah, and I definitely the shell, right? It's so supportive.
Supportive. You think it's a protective thing, right? Where it also encases its own being within it. So if you think of, everything being within, the turtle really demonstrates that.
And in feng shui, we see the turtle as the north. Um and that it is the mountain behind you, right? We like in feng shui, we always like to have like something taller in the back of the home to be supportive. And we also talk about maybe the back of your office chair having a high enough back to it. Is being making sure that your back is supported. So in feng shui, we look at it and not only from your standpoint of your home, but also your bed and your office chair and things like that. But yeah, it's got that supportive quality, and there is actually a color associated to it, which is black, which is also associated with north, which is also associated with water. And the reason why water is black, it's not about the surface level water, it's about the depth. It's about going deep. And, you're talking about Mother earth. It's like, oh yeah, it's going really into the depths of who you are. So yeah, and so I actually got the four animals in crystals. So I actually have the tortoise as a like a black tourmaline or a onyx. You can get it because that's a very protective crystal. And we're really talking about this tortoise being our protector, our shell, right? So having that, and then you can put these little animal crystals around your home. So you'd put the turtle in the back of your home. And then the next one I'd like to talk about is the phoenix. Oh no, would you want to bring start us off with the phoenix and the meanings of that?
Oh yeah, and it's interesting because there is a connection with phoenix and snake, but phoenix is, of course, a mythological quote unquote animal. So I think of it more as an etheric animal, or one that's not quite in our dimension at this time, but it is very much a living, spirit being, right, that we can work with. And if you're not familiar with the legend of the phoenix, it is a bird that hatches from an egg, and it grows up, and then when it's ready to die, it bursts into flames, and then from the ashes comes the new egg. And so it's a representation of like the cycle of life, of eternity, of transcendence, right, of the eternal nature of the soul, basically, and also of resurrection.
Yeah, resurrection. Yeah, and rebirth. That's yeah, those are the two that I'm familiar with the phoenix representing. And just the fire that it just that there's that fire energy part of it too. So the phoenix we would want to put in the front of the house. This represents south and the element of fire. So in feng shui, there's the five elements. I'll just go through them really quick: earth, water, fire, wood, and metal. We're going to cover each of those and with each of these animals. But yeah, definitely fire. And putting it in the front of the home, it's this creates this expansion. With the phoenix, it's like the bird, it's freedom, it's flight, it's open. It's being able to see far ahead and look far ahead. So having this animal in the front of the home, or having that quality in the front of the home where you can see like an open field where you can see what might be coming at you or coming towards you. It kind of helps with that idea. So yeah, in feng shui, we like to see in like a very expansive open area, like from the front door, and being able to see out and be able to see over, see what might be coming. And then so the one after that is the dragon, another mythical creature.
Yes, another one, and another one that is very present, as many people feel. In the Chinese tradition, the dragon is a very positive symbol, and which is very much in contrast to the Western tradition, in which the dragon typically is more of a either evil or just something that's needs to be overcome, right? The Chinese tradition is it's going to be a benevolent spirit usually, but they can be very powerful. They can, benevolent doesn't mean that it's not dangerous or it doesn't, create upset or anything like that, but typically it's a very positive force. So sometimes we'll have a destructive force that is positive. It needs to clear things out of the way. It is like strength and power, right? And it also is actually very connected with the snake or the serpent. Um, it's almost like a higher harmonic in some ways of serpent energy, because it has that same kind of undulation kind of movement, and I know some dragons have legs, some don't, but they have that long body, right? Dragon, I believe, let's see, what element is in feng shui? Because I know that there's often water dragons in the east. In the west, dragons often fire and earth. So it. Depends on where in the world your your perspective is from.
Yeah, there's definitely multiple different types of dragons, like you said, water dragons, the air dragons. But this one, they are representing, this dragon is represented in the east as wood.
Yeah, and that makes sense because wood. And now I'm not as familiar with the Chinese elements, but in my understanding is that wood is this. If you think of things springing up out of the earth, that kind of growth energy, and a dragon certainly has a lot of that kind of very vital kind of energy to it, vitality and power and growth and all that good stuff.
Yeah, very life-giving. And so when we talk about this particular dragon, because it's a celestial dragon, it's all about good things coming, right? So it's
For the Eastern dragons, a lot of it is good fortune.
yes, exactly. They see it as a fortune from the heavens, like raining down fortune. So it's the heaven luck. So in feng shui, there's three lucks. There's heaven luck, earth luck, and human luck. And the heavens are just like where the stars are when you're born. And then earth luck is your environment. Where were you born on earth? What is that like? What are your parents? And then there's the human luck. It's like, what do you do yourself to create your own luck in your life? So dragons definitely represent that heaven luck, good things coming, and it represents opportunities. Just like you said, the wood, the growth, it's always about, yeah, bringing in good fortune. So the dragon we'd put on the left side of the home. And that we generally, it's more of a masculine energy here. So we are looking for more open yang spaces, so bright light. And then we're going to move into tiger next, which is going to be the opposite.
Okay, yeah, and you said white tiger, right?
White tiger.
Yeah. Okay, so tiger also is very, very powerful, powerful animal. It's if dragons more in the open air, right, heavens, tiger's going to be in the forest, and that's why it has the stripes, right, so that it can blend in. So it has a certain amount of subtlety to it. Even though it is very powerful, it can be very in your face, but it's more, I think, more subtle. It's if you think of kind of a person who's very astute, right, and very wise in the ways of the world, and holds their power, to themselves. But it's like you can feel that person has power. That's the energy of tiger, and a great. It's often like a lot of healers will have tiger energy. It's really not common for a healer or a medicine person to have that sort of tiger energy.
Oh, that's really interesting. I've never heard of that before, but it makes sense. It definitely makes sense. So because the way that I've been taught about this particular celestial animal is the tiger is more yin, it's more female. So it is that like hidden in the forest. And what's nice about tiger, it's in the west, hence the white color, because the white we assume is relate to metal element. So the tiger is the keeper of good things, and it's the feminine, it's the collector, it's holding on to, right? So when we look at all of these animals working together, let's say you have a home office, you would want, in the ideal feng shui setup to use these animals is to have a strong back, right? So we want to look at your chair back. Is it high? Is it supportive? Do you have something behind you? Make sure that there's a wall behind you versus open space. And then, so that's the tortoise, right? That's the mountain energy. And then in front of us, we want to have that open space to the rest of the room for people to come in, to leave, to have that movement, and to have that seeing what's coming, right? We want to have that vision of the door of the office. And then with the dragon on the left, it would be again ideal feng shui to have an open opportunity, right? So we see that as a window. What good chi, sunlight, and energy from the outside, from the heavens, is coming in onto your left. And then on the right, we have Tiger, and Tiger keeps those opportunities. It holds on to the opportunities that are coming in so they don't just slide right by, right? And you're able to hold on to the opportunities. So that would be like a closet, um, or something like that, some type of dark yin area on the right for the tiger. So then and of course, Earth, you, the snake, just being in the middle, just being here, interacting with all of these.
Question for you, is that like when you're saying left and right, are you facing your front door inside the home? Is that how it
So it's actually, you can, it's called being in your power or being in command. I like calling it being in your power. And because it's your home office, you'd want to do it to the door to your office versus the door to your home. So it's the door to any room. So if you're sitting in your living room on your living room couch, you would want to see the entryway of people coming in. You wouldn't want to walk into your living room and have your couch hitting, like people hitting the back of your couch, right? And having your back, because again, that's not a shell, it's not protective. So it's the front door has a lot of things that we can do feng shui wise with it, but it goes room by room.
when you say left and right, is that when you're entering the room?
So if you are sitting in your office at your office desk, you are going to want to imagine the dragon on your left, the tiger on your right, and then the phoenix in the front, and then the turtle in the back. And you use that. It's called form feng shui versus compass feng shui. Now the compass would be like, oh, well, the dragon is always in the east. When we use form, it's just following the form of it versus the compass direction. Yeah, yeah. There's two different schools of thoughts, and each one has their own particulars around it. And I usually like to tell people, yeah, you can do the compass school. We can do it to actually place you, if you have a couple options in your office and you don't know which way to put your desk, we can find the formula through the compass to figure out what is the best one for you. Yeah, so there's different, I use both in different scenarios. Now, Ona, I would love for you to tell us a little bit more about your oracle deck, and perhaps maybe do a reading.
I'd love to do a reading. Yeah. So the Oracle deck is called the Spirit Animal Awareness Oracle deck, and it's available on my website, spokenearth.org. And it's got, what is it, 48 or 44 cards with each different animals. And the reason I made it was this was kind of well into like my spiritual awakening. I just got this really strong download, right? Not download, but just sort of like you get these little nudges, right? And this one was super strong. It was just like work on this oracle deck. So I actually followed through with that one. Yeah, so I mean, it was just one of those projects that just sort of, came together, and it has been just a really fun thing to work with because it's everybody loves animals, right? And so I think for some people it's actually been sort of an introduction to a spirituality beyond the conventional. um, and I think I don't think I've ever really met a whole lot of people that were not fascinated with the animals and what they mean. People look through and it's like, oh yeah. And it's funny, even people that don't think they're spiritual, they look at a particular animal, it comes up for them and like, oh yeah, I can see that. So that's why one reason that that I say that spirit animals are very accessible, because they're so kind of concrete and they've got personality and we can feel akin to them. um, so yeah, I mean, would you like me to do a reading? What's your intention?
I guess my intention would be, I'm at this pivotal point I just got done this big event. It took up 3 months of my life. I've quit my job, full-time job, and I'm kind of looking to see what's next. What's around the corner for me?
What's around the corner? Okay, so if you don't mind, I would like to first do it without cards, tune into you, and then pull maybe a card or two to clarify what comes up for that.
I would love that.
Kind of looking at your next steps, and so I'm just going to take a moment here, tune in, and asking for highest guidance for Mary on her next steps to be in highest alignment with her soul, purpose, and path, for the highest good of herself and all those around her, and asking for the spirit animal kingdom to send a representative to give a message. And I'm getting, and sometimes it takes a little while to tune in. What I notice is that some animals are, especially like the shy ones, often something like a rabbit will take a little while. Sometimes I'll get little hints, or sometimes one has to be patient, right? Because sometimes it'll be like something will come in, and something come in, and then something will come in where it feels, strong. I'm getting salamander, and what I was kind of seeing was it's a red orange salamander. So I'm almost getting like that mythic, because we have the actual salamanders, right, that live in the water, but there's also a mythical salamander that's a fire creature, right? It lives in the fire. And so I think we'll kind of feel a little bit into both of those. The natural salamander is an amphibian, right? Just like the frog, right? And it comes out about this time of year, and at least where in our latitude here, and it comes up out of the frozen mud, and it starts to look around for where to lay its eggs and so forth. So this is a really opportune time of year, it feels like, for you to be kind of coming up out of whatever old cycle you've been in, right? And maybe warming up a little bit. So I think one of the things it's saying is like coming up out of the water, right? Which is our deep subconscious. You may have been kind of running on patterns like that you've been familiar with for a while, and maybe things right now are decrystallizing for you, maybe coming into, and sometimes that can feel a little bit unstable, because if the ice stops freezing, then it's fluid, and all of a sudden we're like moving. um, there's a lot of energy that can happen there, but then when it comes up out, it needs that warmth. So I think the biggest thing that's coming forward is like this is a really good time for you to maybe take a little time to bask, little time to bask and really soak in the light, right? Do go into a meditation or something, or maybe physically get out in the sunshine, work in the garden or something, and kind of maybe get out of that deep subconscious, because I know you go deep, Mary, when you're you're working with your spiritual work, and maybe it's time to come out of that for a little bit, allow that to just kind of rest for a bit, dry up, get yourself in the light, and it will activate something in you, right? And that's the going out, and then you find the water again, and you lay the eggs, and you start the new cycle. So that's kind of what's coming forward.
I love that. That is so beautiful, and I would never in a million years have pictured a salamander.
I would never either. Actually, it's so funny because when I tune in, a lot of times it's like, where did that come from?
So it fits so beautifully and so perfectly. Like I definitely feel like very mermaid sometimes. And I go swim down to those depths a lot. I am a water person. My 9-star key, if anyone's familiar with 9-star key, I'm all water, and so I'm missing fire in my life. So it makes sense that it was a red orange, and then it's coming to, and I kid you not, everyone who's listening today, I woke up, I've been just freezing, and I've been going from one little sunspot in my house to the next sunspot.
That's amazing. Yeah. Yeah. I did a reading for one woman once, and it came up five-lined skink. I don't even know. I must have been aware of that. I mean, it's not an animal I'm normally even aware of, right? And but that's when it came up, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, I had this deep connection with this animal." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, it's crazy." But yeah, that's what the animals will come forward, and the one that is resonating, and it might have been like somebody else who's really skilled with spirit animals, right? Could tune into you, and it'll be a different one coming up. So it's not like it's the one, but that's how it's coming through me from the spirit animal world to speak to you at this time.
Right? And there's always a message with everything. So, yeah, that's so beautiful. And to have that different perspective, just to come in and be like, oh yeah, that's exactly what I need, but I could never have figured that out on my own. So yeah, that was beautiful. So thank you for that. And did you want to pick a card maybe for from your deck for the viewers?
Yeah. Okay. This one's really jumping out. It's elephant. All right, and the card is a mother elephant. She's kind of cradling a baby elephant, who's kind of snuggling up against her, and she's a big matriarch with tusks, and they are kind of right in front of. There's a great big harvest moon behind them. They're kind of tucked into the grass there. It's coming back into touch with the mother, right? The great mother. This is a very, very intense time in history. It may be the most intense period in human history, seriously, since the inception of humanity. It's really, really a powerful time. There's a lot going on. AI is coming on. People are getting laid off. Things are changing. We're not going to be in the same world, right? I remember it back in COVID, people were like, oh, let's get back to normal. Well, no, sorry, there is no normal, right? And that's not going to change anytime soon. And so one of the foundational things to do, and especially if you're kind of just starting a spiritual awakening process or moving through a cycle and into a new cycle, which I think a lot of people are doing right now, because we're the Aries energy, the new part of the cycle is really, really strong right now, is to connect with that mother and connect back down. And also, mother is mater, the earth, right? Matter. And this is something that's been coming forward for me a lot recently, is the importance and the sanctity of the body, and of really honoring the body and being aware of what the natural body and the incredible wisdom that it has, and the incredible power for healing, and the power of connecting to spirit through the body. um, it's really, really important that we hold our bodies sacred, and especially at this time, facing these upcoming trends of transhumanism, of wanting to alter the body, or have a hybrid body machine, things going on. It's so important to recognize that the body is our temple, and it is sacred, and it is that which nurtures us. When coming back to that mother image, right, we also have to nurture the body, right? And it's funny, this is Earth Day right now that we're recording this on. So maybe that's another tie into to why this card is coming up right now. With the body, along with the body, is our respect for and care for Mother Earth, because they are one and the same. And how we relate to our bodies and how we relate to the earth is intimately connected. And when we start remembering that how to honor both, right, and start to really work with, okay, giving the body things that are actually nourishing to it. It's so easy in this day, and to rush through, and I do it myself, so many of us, all of us, right, almost all of us, it's so sometimes you got to just kind of stop through the drive-through or whatever. But I think even that, if we can start being aware of, how did I get to this point of being so much in a rush that I feel like I have to stop through the drive-through, rather than stopping, breathing, saying a prayer over a good meal, or even a very simple meal, a piece of bread or something, um, you know, rather than doing that whole rushing thing and ingesting Lord knows what, you know. I guess I'm going off on a soapbox, but our bodies really are sacred, and that mother energy as well. So powerful. It's been, I think, both the mother and the father energies have been maligned and are really actually under attack right now. And so recognizing the absolute miracle of motherhood and fatherhood and bringing new life into the world. And we do that through our bodies. And that is, any other act of creation um, is really symbolized by that, bringing new life into the world. So if you're listening to this, you have new life within you, whether it is an actual physical human being, now or in the future, or if it is the new life of new ideas. Everything starts as an idea. And so nurturing yourself, your body, um, coming into times of just rest and cuddling, the connection, physical connection with other people is very important too.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, it's so interesting you bring up Earth Day too. I was on another presentation when I mentioned like, yeah, it's about reconnecting with organic material. We're all so like in our homes, on the computers, in the car. It's like we don't actually get out to put our feet on the ground and say hello to the river and the rocks, and have that connection with the earth.
Yeah, and you know what? We all say that, but it is like profoundly important, profoundly important. And I just got this download yesterday. It was like we're facing two paths ahead of us. One is the path of the body, and the other is the path of the machine.
Yes. Yes. And like you said, we're in these times where it's pivotal times and we have to start making choices on an individual level. And what is it? What are you choosing today? Are you choosing to be outside or are you going to be choosing to be with part of the machines?
Right. And there's a deep-seated belief in spiritual circles that it's body versus spirit, right? That you want to get out of your body. Well, what I'm being shown is we actually do that through the body, and that we come deeper into the body, and it's through that oneness and harmony with the body that we eventually will spiritualize out of it. But it's not by leaving the body behind at this point.
No. Yeah, and to just round back to our original discussion, we had the snake. It said that, I just found out like, oh, Earth is the snake. And we always have the snakes, the two snakes, right? The mother and the father, the balance of the yin and the yang going up around our health symbol. And so, the nervous system and that connection from above into below. So, yeah, remembering you are both. And yeah, just to keep everything in balance. And that's hopefully what we're trying to do here with Compass for Your Life is keep everything in balance.
Everything in balance, yeah. And then, oh my gosh, the snake. There is another like 5 episodes right there just talking about snake. But yeah, I mean, I think very briefly and short, there's the Kundalini, which is seen as a coiled serpent of energy at the base of the spine. And as we awaken, it unfurls and moves up just like that snake around the staff.
Yeah, 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 exactly. And Ona, I would love for you to tell people, I know you have some spirit animal type events coming up and that people might be interested in attending.
Right. Yes, I have a free masterclass coming up, and it's called Three Secrets of Spirit Animal Wisdom. I'm going to be sharing, well, first of all, a guided meditation experience so you can connect with a spirit animal. And I have a pretty simplified three-step process for so you can get in and start working with spirit animals in practical ways. And then there will be a Q&A session afterwards. There will be a door prize for those who are able to attend in person, and it'll be fun. I love to work with small groups of people and or even larger groups of people, and make it fun, experiential, but also also profound, right? Connecting with your spirituality in that way with the spirit animals helps you to connect with the earth, um, connecting with your body, and it can be like you just discovered, right? They are very pointed with their messages, and they can be a very helpful and practical, allies to help us to move forward and take the next steps that are aligned, and can make really actually quite profound um, changes in positive ways, right? To in our life and our business and whatever else we got.
Yeah, and then where can people go to sign up for that?
Yeah, probably the easiest. I'll have that on my homepage, just a link to where you can get to the page that tells about it. And so you can register right on my website, spokenearth.org. And yeah, so that it is coming up May 2nd. I'm giving another one on May 9th too. Right now it's just the May 2nd one, but if you aren't able to make the May 2nd, just sign up anyway, because then you'll get the emails and telling you when the second one will be.
Great. And if you're interested in her Oracle deck, it is also available on her website. And I will have those down in the show notes so everybody can have access to that. Thank you so much, Ona. It's been a pleasure. It's been really fun talking about these animals and having the reading. And everyone, thank you so much for listening. And again, let's make your space a wonder space. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Please take a moment to leave a review or support this podcast by subscribing. Visit wonderspacefengshui.com for events and other offerings. Thanks for listening, and see you in the next episode.